Yeah, we need you to
Yeah.
up or people watching VODs. Hello. So early this year, I started a series of videos where I get folks on to talk about games they're passionate about or really liked or just wanted to make me play. So we went through a game with Blackout, went through a game with, help me out here, what's his screen name? Malbound?
Malbound.
Malbound. He's been bound for a long time. Hey there, Kiwi. And tonight we are talking frickin' Civ, along with special guest Safetycat, who I have spent probably the most time talking to and playing video games of anyone.
That is entirely true. Yes, this is at least a comfortable dynamic.
Yeah.
We have played games before. One day, do need to get that Hitman 2 playthrough
Oh, it was
organized.
so fun. Yes. Well,
Uh, get
yes.
get more of that happening. But yes, so
There's going to be a loading screen, so let me get us to that loading screen. Do I just
absolutely.
click on
So
this button?
I think play now is fine.
Great. Okay, go for it.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, the guy from the Metal Slug video. Exactly.
Wonderful. Haile Selassie.
Yeah, I mean, I
All
can
right.
talk crap and
Yeah,
play the
you could.
game,
Yeah.
but
Just
if
skip through this.
if
It's
there are
fine.
things you want me to be doing or not doing in the gameplay,
No,
say so. Otherwise, I'm gonna just kind of
no.
play a game.
I have no opinions there. But okay, so I want to talk about Civilization as a game series because I think Civilization is it's a series I have thought about the most
What is this stuff?
of mini games. It's also probably the series I have the most hours of any game series in, since
That's
I
an
did
interesting
nothing
thought.
but play Civilization 4 between
Oh, jeez. Yeah, tell me about it.
uh, like 2008 and 2012 maybe. Mostly Civ 4 was my big game. I've still think about playing it sometimes uh, because in particular because it's still very well supported by mods. We are playing Civilization
Oh
5
man,
today.
I'd forgotten about mods. I'm going to talk to you about some freaking mods.
Oh,
Go on.
excellent. So Civilization 5 is the third game in the series I played.
Yes,
I,
like, wait, that sentence doesn't check out.
I have not played Civ 1.
No.
I've played a bunch of Civ 2. I played a little
Oh.
bit of Civ 3. So much Civ 4. A bit of this game, not as much, and then a decent bit of Civ 6. I'm always very surprised to look and see that I have over 200 hours in Civ 6 because I feel like I have not played that much, but apparently I
Ah,
have.
it kind of gets away on you, doesn't it?
Yes, and that's one of the things I did want to talk about as well. But first of all, one thing I wanted to kind of in particular talk about is what are you doing at the moment in game?
As in, what happens in Civ?
Yeah, what's currently happening?
Okay, so Civ is like you're starting. It's like you're starting like I think my cursor's captured. We're like starting the year 4000
It
BC,
is.
the earliest dawn. Well, it isn't. Yeah, earliest dawn, the cradle of civilization, etc., etc., etc. And oh, we're going to get to Gandhi. We're going to talk
Ah,
about Gandhi
but you can talk about Gandhi later. That's also good.
in Civ, I mean.
Uh,
And yeah, you build up your
yeah,
Civ. It's like one of the most well supported or biggest, I guess, 4X games, right? Where you're
yeah.
exploring, expanding, exterminating, and help me out here. I always
Oh
forget the
yes.
last one.
Oh right, there is actually an acronym there, isn't it?
X searching. The last one should be research, I feel, but apparently is not.
Uh,
But yeah, you build up your forces and you diplomacy or you
yeah.
war people and you just try and get a nice big old empire going, basically.
So yeah, it's like the most detailed, simple abstraction of empire building in history.
Yeah.
Uh, unless you go into like the more detail of, say, the turn-based strategy games of Paradox
Yep.
or similar competitors, where they actually try, in particular things like Victoria 2 and games like that, where they actively try to like model a lot of real-world forces. This is a level of abstraction down from that, but it's still fairly detailed. In particular, oh hello,
How one being hit on.
yeah, nice.
I've forgotten about that.
Uh, Classic characterization of Catherine of Russia, I think.
Yeah, gee.
Uh, But yeah, so
Wait a minute.
the very first thing I want to actually talk about is the nature of what you have just done as starting the game.
In what
You
way?
have okay, so the game starts at 4000 BC.
Yeah.
You are in this case, you are the leader of the Ethiopians. For some reason, you are Haile Selassie, a man who will not exist until the 1900s,
Yeah, we're like
or possibly
5,000 years off.
1800s.
No, 1900s.
Okay, I know he reigned then. I wasn't sure when he
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, god damn it.
became alive.
God
Anyway,
damn it, I hate it when this happens.
oh no.
Oh no,
You found
that's right.
weapons?
No. You
Oh
keep
yeah,
the all-terrain penalty thing though, at least.
yeah,
So
fine.
it's fine. The other annoying thing about playing
Uh,
against Ethiopia is I'm the same colour scheme as the dang barbarians, and this always confuses me.
Also, as the forest. But like you have just like the game starts you off. You have two units, right? You've just got a bunch of people wandering.
Yep.
You then settle down most of the time exactly where you started off, although often it gives
Yep.
you the mechanic to move somewhere.
I had a little look, but yes.
And compare if you think about that compared to like history.
Oh, it's utterly inaccurate, and it's the exact
Oh
opposite,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's like people have existed in Ethiopia for well a long time, right? It's right by the Great Rift Valley.
Yeah.
It's
The
where people have existed for a very long time.
4,000 years is a bit of a undershoot on that one, huh?
Yeah, it's not like they traveled there. Like that might be true. Like the way the game starts might be true of like I don't know people starting off in Western Europe or
It's still
something. But
it's
even then,
like
like
an orders of magnitude off, right? Yeah.
yeah, like Stonehenge is the wonder you can build in this game. Stonehenge was built before the like time scale of this game,
Yep.
and so I find that fascinating as an idea because it kind of is.
I don't care about these
It's kind
barbarians.
of like in general this idea of like people appearing into this vast wasteland with everyone else kind of at the same level as you, and everyone progressing from an even playing field. When that wasn't the case at all, there's like centuries of progress that gets built upon when you when if you actually have a civilization that's existed in the area for a while. Like people lived in the Mesopotamia for a long time, which sort of allowed the
Yep.
first cities to kind of develop there because that's where people lived.
Yeah, and you get like Gilgamesh and the epics of Ur and
Yeah.
all these.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Which is like that's like stories of like the first cities and people probably before the first cities.
It's so fascinating.
And so and like you can think about, and that's something I like to think
I'm
about.
finding so many runes this game.
You are. It's great.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fantastic. One thing I like to think about is the like myths and legends being like abstractions of things that happened back in the day when people were like nomadic, and that sort of like turning into like a story of actually like some things being like explaining why things happen, and some things being like this is just a thing that happened and it's turned into a bit of a
That's
mythical legend.
actually a pretty good call, Radishes.
What's he said?
How are there so many runes when the world is only 6,000 years old?
Yes.
Are we post-apocalyptic? You might
brilliant thought.
You might find it easy, Safetycat, to pop open a window with just the stream chat in it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, actually I should do that.
But yeah,
give me a second.
The more you play the game, you're like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. If you actually think about it, like Sam has done, it makes just less and less sense as time goes by. But yeah, so for now, while Sam gets it set up, we're just kind of doing our thing. For anyone who isn't, I mean, you all know how Civ works, right? You expand and you get bigger. Yeah. I briefly looked up how Civ 5 actually works earlier today, so I can kind of do stuff. I probably should just play in a low difficulty setting, but it's fine.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
We're not going to.
You're not setting up a game that you want to play for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Civilization games are actually on the same.
All Civ games. What? Another one.
So yeah, that. Oh, actually. See. That's good. I like that theory.
I quite like that theory. Yes.
My favorite explanation of this is like an idea of like I think some Civ games have like presented this as like the actual concept a bit, which is like, okay, you are a leader from history. You've been either resurrected or
What? Sorry,
magicked into a.
I'm
Yeah,
high
yes.
rolling this out of this game.
Oh, you are. It's a good game.
Go on.
I know
I'm sorry.
already. It's
Keep.
good. And you've been resurrected or like teleported or something to like an empty planet that is not Earth, because of course you are on a planet that is not Earth.
Yep.
You're on a randomly generated terrain.
Yep.
You've been teleported there to compete in a empire building game by aliens or some shit.
Yeah.
And
Basically.
that's the only way this makes sense, is like a thing that's happening.
Very
You are
much
the
so.
leader for over 6,000 years. You exist at the start of the civilization. You exist at the end, and every other leader also does this. Despite the fact that over time you can, for example, make your civilization a democracy or a monarchy or a
It's
fascist state, you are
it's
still the leader in
a,
all of those
a
situations.
metaphorical democracy.
Yeah,
We have a really good approval rating.
yeah, it's Russian style democracy.
I mean, yeah, that's cool too, I guess.
But yes, so all these sort of things are like.
Oh wow. Speaking of which,
Actually, oh yeah, oh hey,
I could maybe kill Moscow really early this game.
you could actually, you could. Yeah, you've got a couple of X-Men, a couple of
Well,
warriors.
that
Sorry.
one's not actually mine.
Oh,
This is the problem I always have with Ethiopia as well.
yeah, that's right. You are shooting him. I remember now. That's fine. But yeah, okay. So
So
yeah,
things happened this turn. Do you want to talk about very briefly some Civ 5 specific mechanics? Because I get a pantheon and I get culture. If we just want talking generally, that's cool.
Yes, trying to remember exactly how it works. I was kind of like, oh, I'll go into this, just look at it, and be fine. Yeah, so you have. This is kind of like something they developed towards in like Civ 6, but in general in this game, there's like social policies, which are the directions you go towards as you play the game. So, for example, you can work on the Liberty Tree and start unlocking things in the Liberty Tree to like. In this case, the tooltip's saying like, "Oh yeah, that helps you with expansion, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're like, as you develop your culture, you are putting points towards like various things your society cares about.
Yes. We're just going to go
In
traditional.
general, I think that's like a fun abstraction of the idea.
Yeah, I like
you're
it.
oh yeah,
It also
okay,
seems nice for new players, like giving them some direction, right? You're like, okay, these are different ways you can try and play the game. You click on the buttons.
So yeah, so you because your civilization has a specific way that you are like drawn towards playing the game, because you are Ethiopia, you're specifically Haile Selassie, but the combination of those two things means you have a specific set of like unique units, unique buildings, and bonuses.
I built one of them.
Yeah, so yeah, you've built a stele. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but
That's be my best guess.
And you are, that is like an early game bonus that's going to set you up to like boom in culture, I believe, past other civs.
Yeah, well, it's like it combines religion and culture, two different things, but my first building, it just combines the two, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, and that kind of fits with like the whole idea is it fits with the background of Ethiopia as a very it's sort of like this like small isolated nation, which is also a bastion of Christianity, and kind of this like nation state that's held out really against colonization by over a lot of time.
I never learnt which of these is actually good.
Oh yes, so here's the thing. So religion is focused around you build faith in your civilization by doing things that build faith, building religious buildings, having people convert other cities to your religion, that sort of thing, right? And more faith means you can do more things, and in this case there's been enough faith in your religion to build to start a pantheon. So you've kind of like had all these people in your nation come together with similar religious beliefs, and that pantheon confers a bonus because you care about something more than other things. What did you just choose, by the way?
Fertility rates. So our population's going to grow faster.
Yes.
That checks
that
out,
one,
I guess.
it does. That one feels a little bit weirder than, like, say, I don't know, you've got God of Fishing, so you fish more.
God of fucking.
Yeah, exactly. That's Dionysus or possibly Zeus, depending on your interpretation.
Well, I guess that explains where the barbarians came from.
Yes, that makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, Civilization 5 is, I think, probably the cleanest execution of the game. I have good things to say about it, despite it being the one I've played least. I just find the action of it and, like, the lack of, like, interesting mods kind of boring.
Yeah, it's definitely the most, I don't know, streamlined is the word. The most
It's streamlined
straightforward.
but dry.
Straightforward is the way I guess
Yeah,
I'd put it, which is
because
a good or a
like,
bad thing.
and the whole point of you should maybe build a worker. Do you have a worker yet?
No. When my population ticks to 3, I'm going to build a settler, but we'll build 2 turns of worker first.
Yeah, that's good.
I think you can save it up.
Yeah, you can queue even.
Sorry, keep on going.
Yeah. So, like, no, Civ 3 isn't actually that much different. The fun thing about Civilization games is they don't actually theoretically change much throughout the time, right? Like, Civ 2 and Civ 3 and Civ 1 all look kind of similar, but they like, you've upgraded the graphics a lot. Civ 5 is the biggest game changer in terms of it's the Ottomans.
God damn it, Sula. I mean, you're so ostentatious.
His
like the camera
onion.
angle of him looking down on us. It's like, okay.
Got this goddamn onion here.
Goodbye. I like your hat, but it's a bit much.
It's a good hat, and he's a interesting dude. But man, he's just like there over you.
Yeah. It's gonna sneak past.
Now you've found my favorite. Actually, you found a really good example of a city-state for me to, like, be weird about.
Go on. Go off.
Okay, cool.
Both of those, I guess.
In this game, you have city-states. It's the first implementation of city-states in this. Civ 5 does 2 things. It introduces NPC city-states, which are not civs and will not grow, but do exist on the map to be, like, smaller countries that you can either, like, befriend and trade with, or destroy and take over. And they confer bonuses for, like, doing missions for them and stuff. So it's essentially, this little quest-giving NPC, if you think about it, like, in terms of other games.
It's a nice touch. It makes the world feel more like a world, rather than like a bunch of players competing.
But also, Buenos Aires apparently exists in 3200 BC.
Yes.
Which I don't know what that implies. I'm happy with it existing. I just don't know what that means. Is it the people of Buenos Aires, like, having their own little, like, it's just like a little Argentinian enclave on the map? Or
yeah, it's a bit hard to say.
I don't know what it means.
I particularly like when you get, like, Wellington in, like, 2000. It's like, well,
Auckland,
there wasn't. Oh, was it Auckland? There wasn't even anyone there at that point. Oh,
No.
That's less exciting.
Yeah.
Did they even tell me anything? They didn't even tell me anything. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like hold on. Actually, I have a book that means I can like, they haven't even called it Tamariki Makuro.
Oh, gee.
I think that's right.
I think that's right.
I have Maori Made Easy right next to me.
Oh, nice.
Because I've been learning it partially for work.
Yes,
and
I'm not going to.
Partially because I should.
Yep, no, I get that.
But yeah, anyway, yes. Nice, thank you, Kiwi.
Tamaki Makoro.
Makoro. My worst part. The thing I'm the worst at is, like, if there's, like, multiple double vowels next to each other, I get very confused. I'm trying. Anyway, what point I was... Oh my god, they went so fast.
Oh, I hate when
Point I was going to make is that, anyway, abstraction in this game is weird.
Yes.
But yes, Civ 5 has two things. The other thing that introduced that is very interesting is the hex grid.
Hex grid's good in Civ games.
Hex grids are good. I didn't like it for a long time because it's different, but it is technically better. Just because it means every distance you travel is the same distance.
Yeah.
My main thing I dislike about it is for some reason it is actually worse to make good looking maps on. In terms of like replicating the world.
I had not considered that.
I don't know why it should be the same, but like it consistently makes the world look weird, and yeah, just in general. But anyway, yeah. So overall, no breaks, so it flows. Yes. If I have to say it slow because I'm trying to work out all the bits.
Yeah, I know that feel.
But yeah, so the Civilization series. Maybe I can do a little bit of a history lesson, or is there anything you want to say at the moment?
So, which Civ game did you play first? I assume you kind of played them in order, the ones you had played. When did you first play Civ?
I first played Civ when I was quite young. Civilization is actually a game series. It's part of like the little collection of like game series my dad played.
Oh, nice.
Which includes the Age of Empires games, the Tomb Raider games, and things like Wolfenstein. I'm trying to think if there's any major other ones. Those are like the main four I can remember. Myst is the other one, maybe.
That's a good game.
Yeah, although I don't think he played it so much as he like got it when I was a kid, and then like tried to play it when he was still playing games.
That also sounds like Myst.
Yes, but anyway, so Civ 2 is what he had. Civilization 2 was a very fun game. I would play it myself, and it's very much more like less animated than this, right? It's like you have a little grid on your screen. You have a little like nothing's animated. It's just you're moving bits around like it's a chessboard. But it's all like drawn nicely and stuff, and you can see things, and you have a little throne room that gets updated throughout the game. And you can also, this is great. This is a great part of it. You could zoom in and look at a city map mode of your city to see all the wonders and stuff you put in it.
You could do it in 4. Well, you kind of do it in 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. I don't
well,
know.
Well, in like 4 and beyond, you just zoom in on your city and see everything, right?
Yeah. Right now, it's
just there, right? So you can zoom in. Your stella's right there in the middle, I think.
Is it? I can't actually tell.
It should be there somewhere.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to make out.
It might be hiding behind the apples and hammers.
Is that it? That might be it.
Yeah. So you have like all your bits and pieces show up in there. But anyway, Civ 2's like it's one of the best early ones. I've never played one.
No, neither. It was from like 1990 on DOS or something, right?
Yes.
Oh, do I really lose that? That's a bummer.
And oh no.
In that case.
Retreat.
Right. Yeah, he can't. Oh, that's just grassland. He can reach me there. He can't reach me here. My poor scout's gonna die.
Yeah.
I was really expecting
to just scout over warrior.
No, the warrior's better.
Although scout has upgrades.
My scout. I'm sorry, warrior. You had a good run. Watching the comp of like one dude is so silly.
Oh no, you're fine. He's alive.
He's alive.
Yeah, that's good. The unfinishable game. Yes.
There's a bit of that.
I have finished games of this, by the way.
Well,
that's an important.
They've ended.
But I finished games mostly. I think I remember doing at least one run through of a Civ 2 game. But then I got Civ 4. We skipped 3.
Boy.
And I got Civilization 4 after it came out. Is your game super zoomed in, or are you losing your mind?
It's fairly zoomed in.
It's fairly zoomed in,
it's
but
so
you can't see shit.
Look at things happening. There's not much to see right now.
Yeah. I know you can also do like the strategic tile mode or whatever.
Oh, that always makes me so sad. I'm like, I don't want to play this.
Look at this. Oh yes, this is a board game.
Takes all the charm out of it.
It does.
Oh, do any of these?
But yeah, what was I thinking about? The Civilization 4 I got and immediately just fell in love with. I didn't get it early on. I got like both the expansions already there. As like a single game. And I played that a lot during high school. There's a lot of mods for it. There was a lot of it was the best. It was the best of the game for mod support. I will give it that.
Yes, there's one particular mod I want to chat with you about at some point.
Oh,
I'll let you. Well,
nice.
you know which mod I mean.
I might do. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
There's one in particular I love, and a series of them that I love.
It's hopefully the one I'm thinking of. But yeah.
But yeah, so Civilization 4 kind of does the same thing, except it's like this, right? It's like this, but with a square grid. And in particular, Civ 4's biggest weakness is it kind of looks like shit. Like the way the terrain looks isn't good. It's there's a lot of mods out there to like fix up the terrain and make it look nicer.
It gets very
because
janky.
It's very muddy.
Yep.
And it's fun, but it is definitely kind of weird. And Civ, but I'm being mean. Those are the criticisms. The good things about it is that it has like a very solid, I think, progression through the game. It feels well paced. Like you get a little bit to play with each of your new researchers without getting like too snowballed into like having so many things to build.
Yes, they kind of kept that. They kind of kept that here.
Yeah, I think 6. I have problems with getting too much, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself anyway. Yes. But yeah, and like you've got all these, you've got this huge tech tree in this and in Civ 4, but they're all very fun. You can research.
It's also things. It's long rather than wide, is I guess.
Yeah.
Going back to your point, where it's like you don't have 20 things to choose from at a time.
Yeah, but you have the main thing that can happen in a Civ game that I don't like is when you research stuff very quickly, which means you go to look at what to build in your city and you've got possibly too much choice. Yeah. Because of course I like to just build. I want everything to be built.
Yes.
I don't want to have a city existing for 2,000 years without a granary, which is also
don't judge me.
Don't judge you for what? Oh right, you don't have a granary yet. That's fine. Oh goodness, yes. I wasn't even meaning to shade you.
Unintentional.
But I did. But yeah, overall, So I played Civilization 4 for many years. I currently don't have it installed because I'm on my new computer that I got last year, which I haven't bothered to install it on because
it's a little older these days, right?
Yeah, and also I think I had an issue actually trying to install it from the disk. It didn't work as it should have.
That's a real bugger.
Because it was on my previous laptop, and I'd installed it on that, and all my laptops. And yeah, but I remember distinct memory of playing Civ 4 on like my family's computer.
What?
Playing, I think, a Linkin Park song.
Oh boy, there's a little time machine right there.
Yeah, and there was a point where I had very few songs on my iTunes, and I remember I feel like I was almost you know that old post. There's like a post that goes around on the internet of a screenshot of someone's iTunes, and it's Linkin Park. What song is it?
I'm pretty bad.
Numb, maybe it might be Numb.
Yeah.
And it's got like over 10,000 plays on it, and the guy, they're like, hey, I think they're saying, oh, do you have any suggestions for music? This is my iTunes. Like, why have you listened to the song so much? And I like the song.
Okay, I mean, I can respect this. It's pretty funny.
But I listened to it. But I remember doing that, and then I got my own laptop, which meant I was able to play it, not just on the family computer, and then continued to play it. I was playing it in the halls of residence at university.
We played a lot.
Yeah, we played a decent.
We played a game of Civ 4, which is a lot of Civ 4.
Yeah, we played. Yeah, I remember us trying to play a game through the emailing the save game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that didn't go very long, but we did try to do that. One of the people in chat was also part of that.
Not to name names.
And maybe we might still be waiting on their turn.
Oh, okay, shots fired. This is why you're not naming names.
No. They know who they are. Uh, and yeah, but I played in particular. What kept me going in four is like this. I burn out on games relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Lots of people need to talk about having like games where they've played over 1,000 hours. Civ 4 is probably the only game I've actually managed that in. Maybe Age of Empires 2 over the course of my life as well.
What? Sorry, go on. I'm just.
You're just finding a lot of Barrier Reef, huh?
Yeah. So this is how you can tell it's 2,000 years ago.
Oh. No.
Go on. I even make it joking like now I made myself sad.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Life finds a way and all that.
Is that what they're talking about when they say that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's good.
So, oh, Portugal. Oh, good. You found Portuguese. And you found some Argentinians. Soon you'll be able to make a whole ass South America. Oh yes, the embassy system. Did you decline that?
Yeah, well, I have to give them money for it.
Oh, that's fair.
So yes.
Yeah. Can you just trade embassy for embassy?
I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
It's fine. Anyway, so one thing that kept me going with playing Civ 4 over time is mods. Now, you mentioned you had a mod you wanted to talk about.
Yes, I've forgotten its name. However, you played a whole bunch of it, and it was like the real world, and a bunch of... The thing is, countries rise and fall. Is that what it was called?
Yes, so... fantastic.
Okay,
Rise and fall
you're going to... I remember it exists, and it was incredibly detailed and awesome, but you're going to have to describe it entirely, because you'll do so much better.
Civilization as a whole, cool. As I've talked about already, is kind of like... It's abstracted, right? It's like... It's a lot of stuff that's kind of weird to think about as existing. Like, oh, yes, I'm the Ethiopians, but I've came into existence as a nation state in 4000 BC, when, in particular, like this, and the mod I'm about to talk about doesn't address it, obviously, it's kind of like the thing of like, well, why are they all individual states back then? That sort of thing.
Yes, go on.
But this game addresses kind of the time aspect of it, right? This mod, Rise and Fall, addresses the time aspect of it. And Rise and Fall could only really have existed in Civ 4 because all the modding tools were so good. That meant you could make, if you've got a world map, you can put some dudes down on the world map and have some of your players in your game not spawn until it's like the year that they start, which means it's just like processing through and doing all the NPC turns for you until that time. And so it made a game mode that was essentially you start out as your chosen civ at the chosen time when that civ would have come to life, as like a proper like nation rather than just people living in that area. You can choose, for example, the Romans and appear at like 500 BC or 600 or 700 BC, whenever it's
near enough. Yeah,
around then, right? And because of doing that, it meant that you got a much more detailed, like, changing. It's sort of a representation of Earth that was not necessarily always going to produce the same Earth, but was always going to produce something interesting that based on like the conditions of our world, where you've got like, oh yeah, I'm going to have the Americas spawn regardless of who's there in the 1700s, which means that whoever's actually settled North America is going to turn into America and be at war with them and do all that and sort of like producing this unique sense of time to the game.
It's very fun.
Yeah, and so I played a ton of that because I found it very fun, in particular because it itched my like random generation itch, where you could be like, okay, I'm going to set up as like, I don't know, the Dutch or the Germans.
Wait, why can't they make that?
Sorry, what?
Don't mind me. I was surprised that warriors could run out of the city and reach me on the high ground over the river.
Oh, I see. Oh, are you fighting the Russians at the moment?
I stole their work. Yeah.
I see. That's fair. Yeah, I think they can go fast because they've built stuff with their worker.
They hadn't though. Well, it's fine.
Do they have a road where
Nope,
that
they
warrior is?
sure don't.
Okay. I
Maybe
guess it's just speed bonuses for being in their
it might
area.
be
I
right.
guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you have this game mode essentially that lets you do a lot of like historical generation, and so I could set up as like the Americas and then just sort of load in the Americas and see what the hell had happened to the world. Because it also had a very easy to access world editor, which meant you could kind of pop in and check out what's actually happening through the random generation. Be like, oh, Greece is still around, or the Romans have survived, or some shit like that.
Stuff like that, right? Where it's just random generation and you see what happens
Yeah.
and you get like systemic things falling out. It's always so fun.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing about that was because Civ 4 isn't exactly a supercomputer, and neither was my laptop.
Yeah. Nope.
You would have this running, and it would actually have to run for like 30 minutes to actually load up a game.
I remember that.
So I'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm waiting for a game to load, so I'm like Alt Tab, not playing anything at the moment, but I can't play anything else because my computer's running this. Shit like that.
Yeah.
And that was all, yeah, very interesting. But what's kind of kept that going as well is the fact that there's a very good modding scene for Civ 4. It still kind of exists because people want to mod Civ, but Civ modding is restrictive now in Civ 5 and 6.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can't do that. Like you cannot make
Not that
like
much,
a thing with people spawning at different times and all that.
I mean, that's understandable. It's a shame,
Yeah.
but that is understandable.
Yeah, I understand why, but yeah, I agree. I agree completely with what you said there. But it's kind of like you have so you've got all that problem, and so there are a lot of mods, but they're all mods that like they'll add resources or they'll add new units for people, and it's all interesting stuff. But it's not like the really transformative stuff that I kind of want to see. But yeah, so they have like so they had a lot of different mods versions of that. They did like specifically Europe, or specifically the history of Asia, or specifically, or like mods that like did expanded versions of the original Rise and Fall. That one is still going.
Really?
Hold on. I can just pop open quickly my thing there. I've still got it bookmarked. Rise and Fall: Dawn of Civilization on the Civ Fanatics forum,
Oh man.
which had its most recent message on it yesterday,
Oh man. That's
and
neat.
the most recent update post on the mod was done at the start of this month.
That's so cool.
No, last month. But yeah, so this guy is still running and maintaining this after it's been many, many years.
Does it even matter which button I click here, Sam?
Oh,
I don't know if it actually matters.
just do. So he'll get annoyed with you if you do the second one.
So just pick the first one and then don't do it if I'm not going to. It does matter.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Yeah, but kill him anyway.
Well, yeah, but I need to kill Russia first.
Yeah, you do.
Which one is the... Okay, they're the slightly darker one.
You need to deal with Russia's greatest love machine. You are in a tight spot, I would say. You've got like Russia, who's annoyed with you, but then you've got barbarians coming at you.
The barbarians are the more annoying one.
Yeah.
Russia has, I think, like was between 0 and 1 military units.
Right.
Because I sure haven't seen it.
That's fine. You wrestle for control of those diamonds.
So many diamonds. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, just to finish off my spiel, I played Civ 5, and then and it's what you see here. And as I said, I like Civ 5, but I also think it's kind of one of the drier ones and doesn't do as much interesting, which meant my staying power with it was less, because I was kind of like, I could just be playing 4.
Yeah, I
the one thing that made me want to play Civ 5 is the achievements, because I love getting achievements. I love to see a little box say that I've done something in a game, and have it so my friends can see that I've done it in the game as well.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So And then Civ 6 came out a few years ago and changed up again by actually doing something interesting with how the game looks, which is, okay, so you have your cities here, right? You've got 2 cities.
Yeah.
Each of those cities takes up a single tile and will for the entire game.
Sure.
You may put stuff around it. You may have farms and work camps and mines and plantations and stuff around it, but it will never actually expand out of that one tile. Which, if you, which is kind of not how cities have worked, right? You'll get regions where there's a lot of urbanization. What's up?
Kevin's like, let's have peace. I'm like, nah. And then Russian spearmen turn up on my border.
Oh, no. Can you, like, rush any units in Addis Ababa? Do you have slavery yet? Can you? No.
You know what? Warriors are not. Oh, spearmen. It's actually probably just fine. My scout just gets there first because scouts.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. But yeah, so... Yeah, your cities don't take up any room. Civ 6 introduced... Basically, it's this game, but it looks a bit cartoonier and more colourful, which I'm in favour of.
Yep.
And then adds, like... a decent bit of, like, you actually build outside your city. Your wonders go outside your city. Your districts you can build, which go outside your city, which means you get a more urbanized landscape of a mix of, like, things you've built in the area and your, like, actual, like, what becomes later in the game into, like, suburbs. It still doesn't kind of fix the, change the thing that it's like you have one named city in your big area where you put your city. Because, of course, what's encouraged in the game is spreading out your cities as much as possible so that they each have as much area to work as possible. Which, again, isn't how people spread out as a civilization, but,
nope.
You know.
Hey, you gotta work with what you have.
Exactly. And that's, you know, I mean, that's kind of why I like talking about this game is, like, the things that are interesting to think about is, like, how it's been, you know, sort of abstracted. Oh, corner the Russian orange market, says Red.
Yeah, but there's all the citrus around St. Petersburg and Moscow.
Yes, there is. That's true. They have ended up in a slightly jungly area with lots of, like...
Oh, is the spearman not coming to attack me? Where's the spearman going?
Good question. Hey, you can write now.
Cool.
Good news. Everyone loves the fact you can write.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. So, okay, now, it's been about 45 minutes. I am going to briefly pop away because my dinner has been ready for a bit.
Ah, yes, you do that.
And my windows are open, it's getting dark.
You resolve those things.
You entertain the people, and I'll be right back.
So, chat. As we have some downtime, Sam came a lot more prepared than I was expecting. It's lovely. I don't mean that as in a throwing shade way. That sounded mean. It's cool. It's been fun just having a little overview. But hey, what Civ games have you all played? I know Vicari at least, if he's has played a whole bunch of 4 and 5. I've played a lot of 4, surprisingly amount of 4, and then some amount of 5. Only 5, Kiwi? Nice. I think 5 is like again, I don't know if streamlined is the word. It's the most straightforward, but in a good way. It's like, oh, you can just kind of play this one, which is good. Free. You've played it on free. Wow. I remember like 10 years ago, I bought free on like GOG. And I never understood how free worked. You haven't played any Blue Rose? Oh man. I mean it's a very 4X-y type game, so if you're... What we didn't get on, I was going to mention before, we were talking about 4Xs, I was going to mention like Stellaris, and there's a lot of like space ones, seems to be the other main genre. It's like historical, and then there's a whole bunch of space, so like Stellaris and I forget the names of all these damn ones. I want to see in space, so like Vicarious played a tremendous amount of space Civ. Can't deal with the washed out map in 6. That's no good. Last time I played a game, it didn't immediately stimulate my singular neuron of explosions and bright colours. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Radishes? Is that why you haven't played it in a while? So it's one of those games. I don't know. I've sorry, it's not the kind of game I play so much these days. Back when I was like an undergrad and just had so much time on account of dropping out of a bunch of papers, I played a whole bunch of Civ. It was good. But nowadays it's like the time is so long, and it's like a lot of the turns are just kind of you just kind of clicking the button and watch and waiting for it to happen, right? Like at the moment, what is this spearman doing? Yeah, see, that's better DLC lineup. Is he? I don't know what this spearman is doing at all.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
The spearman is still studiously not attacking me.
Oh, good. I completely sympathize with Randish's point about building roads.
They were really good in Civ 4.
Fucking love developing my area entirely when I play Civ. Yeah, I'm gonna build roads. I want to make everything have something on it.
Yep.
Work and micromanagement is my favorite part.
The development, right? Because the city is like, okay, you're building up a city, but like upgrading your terrain is like, yes, I get an extra apple.
Now, actually, here's a talking point.
Sure.
What's your favorite style of play in Civilization?
Oh, gee. So roughly, this it depends how far you want to spread it. Like, so the two big kind of pillars are tall / wide, right? Where talls you have a few very big cities, and wide you spread out and have a lot of smaller cities. I generally prefer wide because tall you're just kind of waiting for stuff a lot of the time. Wide you feel like you're doing stuff a lot.
Yes.
Other ways you can play styles if you're going for like research victories or cultural victories or warlike victories. I do find war very satisfying. Don't quote me on that. But it is like challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can just lose that way if you get it wrong, which is kind of a bummer.
But that's how wars are.
Yes, turns out.
Yeah, I see it. So you kind of get like typically you have domination, so you controlling the majority of the globe. You have science, so you finishing the tech tree, and typically symbolized by you building something to go to outer space. You have cultural, which involves even if you haven't dominated, you still having like so much culture relative in the world that everyone fucking loves you.
Yep.
And then finally, often a religious victory exists as well. I don't usually go for that. I don't find religious gameplay particularly interesting.
Does 5 have that? It does, doesn't it?
Do you have a little victory screen maybe that you could bring up?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, like a little. Usually, there's a little menu telling you about your victory stuff.
Victory progress.
So in
Civ 5, it's the 4 same listed.
Okay, so no religious in this one, but you do have diplomatic instead. So diplomatic often involves religious by making everyone like you.
Yeah, so the city-states feature. Sorry, keep on going. But you.
Oh yeah.
The city-states. So it's the United Nations. People get to vote on stuff. But basically, if you're so big and make all the city-states love you, you just get a majority and can vote that you win the game. Basically.
Yeah.
It's hard to pull off. Basically, my understanding is if you are that much in control of the game, you could just win in any other way anyway. But hey, if you're there, you're there.
But that's that's the easiest way to win for any other way often. But like if you're doing domination, usually unless you've like actually at domination victory, most people hate you.
Yeah, that's also a problem.
If you're doing science, you can
archers.
kind of get the other two as well, but usually it's best if you're going for one of those to beeline for one. You can kind of prioritize science or culture production. I will note, based on the rules of civilization, America has won a cultural victory. Since we are wearing their blue jeans and singing their pop music.
Pop music.
Well, they're not American, are they?
About. I don't.
They might
so.
be.
I don't actually know though.
Anyway, Redford notes: destroying my own economy to fund my army. I use my army to take over another country, boost my economy, stuck in a terrible loop.
Yeah, see, I was good at the first step of that.
That's again how real life works. That's how
Yeah, gee, yes.
That's That's how Hitler did it.
I've been listening to, I don't know if you've heard of Hardcore History of Dan Carlin. You
Oh,
may well have
oh
known you.
boy.
Listening, build up to World War II Japan and the,
Oh yes, because he's been doing his
I think it's called actually.
Supernova in the East.
Yes.
His that series.
And like G. Yeah, once you start going down that road, it becomes very easy to think, oh yeah, we should just keep on going in this direction, more and more and more and more and more until you can't stop.
I remember listening to him back in like he's in the Mongol series that everyone raved about. I think that's where everyone kind of discovered him, maybe.
Buenos Aires wants the Great Library. Well, you might have to deal.
But yeah, so oh boy, they just want some books. Just make a
Wait,
normal
does
library.
Moscow have a bonus against larger civs?
No,
No, I have a bonus against larger civs. Why
Yeah.
did you fool? You settled Novgorod.
yeah.
Wait, I probably
That-
could. Why they just settled another city? I should totally be fighting them.
It
Right
wouldn't
now.
make sense for Russia to have a bonus against larger sips.
No, I was saying this. They have one unit and it's trapped in the corner here.
Brilliant. Destroy him.
Yeah, I should. Okay, let me get on that.
Yeah. So yeah. So you kind of have those ways. It portrays those as way to win the game, right? Because obviously, if you think about again, you have to give a way for your player to win as a game designer, which is a very strange thing to make happen in a game about the history of the world.
Yes, because you don't, right? As a general rule.
Yeah. Yeah. People sort of may think that they had like that they were beyond history at say like the end of the Cold War and such. But
Or saying, Alexander the Great getting to the ocean and weeping because there are
Yeah.
no more lands to conquer. Whatever that bullshit was.
I think there might be context in that makes it slightly better, but yeah, it's still like a very psychopathic thing to do. And be like, oh, I can't, like, just fucking go
Yes,
west, you
good.
dipshit.
Shoot each other.
First country to cause the apocalypse equals winner. Exactly.
Mm.
And you win scientific victory by escaping to another planet. But I guess I like scientific victory.
That always felt like the uninteractive option, I guess.
Yeah,
Which
it is. I mean, you can still like do other things in it. I would still, bully my neighbors until I had a decent area.
Sure.
But I hated, like, in particular, sea invasions trying to go to other continents. And all that, because gameplay-wise, I never find that part, like, funding a war overseas particularly interesting.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
But yeah, so yeah, obviously, war is, as you mentioned, war is hard in this game. It is, you're still like, you've been at your forever war with Russia for now. How many years now?
1,500, I think. Maybe
Yeah,
a bit. No,
and you
maybe
just kind of-
only 1,000.
You might, yeah, but
The problem is
kind
I
of,
don't have
yeah,
archery, so I can't actually. It's very hard to take cities early on without archery.
Oh yeah, wait. How do you get your just
Upgraded from a ruins.
Yeah, okay. They gave you archers, but didn't teach you how to make bows.
Unfortunate, really.
Give a man a bow.
And he's not going to tell anyone how to use it or how to copy it.
apparently,
Yeah.
Despite the fact that theoretically that would be fairly transmissible information if you have a bow.
No, we're just not smart enough to work it out.
Yeah. You've got so much wood. It's not even the lack of that.
This bow's
boy,
been
you
handed
just-
down in my family for centuries. Also,
just
Alexander's
made a
cutting an
fucking-
onion at a time. Sorry, go on.
You just made a fucking 300 moment there. Just like blotting out the sum of your arrows, and only one dude dies.
It's the barbarians. Don't blame. Don't put that one on me.
Oh, I see.
This is. I shouldn't do.
Nice.
Ethiopia. I'm like, oh. Also, they're just tanking it fully. Hey, it's fine. I'm gonna
That's
just
fine.
watch them get shot.
Nice. That's good. They probably don't know the difference between you and the barbarians. They're not sure
I mean, I wouldn't know the
what the
difference.
hell's happening.
Maybe we don't have to have
okay.
a war. Maybe I just get like Oracle
What
and
other notes did I have?
research up. That's fine.
Oh, I was talking about scientific victory.
Yeah.
Okay, scientific victory, of course, leads into one of the most notorious parts of the Civilization games,
Oh, what's that?
which is the tech treeification of history.
Right. So, I have this open.
Yeah. Cool. You have a tech tree.
Yes.
This tech tree is responsible for, and the ones in previous games, are kind of responsible for a few maybe strange ways of looking at how technology and society development work.
Yes.
Obviously, because this isn't all to blame. It's kind of based on like very in particular what I call Eurocentric, or maybe even just like not even Europe, but just like any sort of like area in Asia, Eurasia centric maybe, where there's kind of this idea of how civilization develops is you do one thing, you do another thing, you have to have all the steps beforehand to get different things, and you build up. Like obviously you can still like you have, I know yellow is what you've researched, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you, for example, have gone and found calendar and writing and masonry and bronze working. You've developed all those, but what's the thing you're currently researching?
Archery.
Yeah. You don't know how to shoot a bow, and you haven't worked out how to work with animals yet.
Yes.
And so there's a bit of wiggle room given by the games in terms of like what you need to research before you move on, and you can do some things like skip some texts entirely, especially in Civ 4 has a very dynamic tree for that. But obviously, in real life, a lot of civilizations didn't follow the same tech tree, right? Like the Inca is a good example. Inca were one of the were the most successful pre-Columbian American civilization. They had an enormous like empire in Peru and beyond.
Yeah.
They had a fascinating society with a lot of interesting tech developed for like keeping themselves as a high alpine civilization. They would freeze dry their potatoes, and they would, because they lived up in the mountains, and and all these wonderful like construction techniques where they had like these wonderful stone structures that would be built, like the stones would be so well carved that they were flush, like that,
which is remarkable.
Yeah, like incredible stuff there. And the Aztecs just sort of central Mexican society, I say, in general, had similar things, and all of them like had these incredible things. But importantly, in particular, South America, the Inca didn't have a writing system. They didn't have iron. They didn't have the wheel. And those are all aspects of the environment, right? Like, you have to. Iron's a bit hard to figure out, so unless someone's figured it out, you're not going to figure out iron. That's fine. Wheel's only useful if you live, say, on the Russian steppe, or somewhere similar where you have flat ground to travel over.
Flat ground, which is also not like bogs and swamps.
Yeah, which otherwise you need to build roads, right? Which is why the wheel developed in like Ukraine-ish area and the steppe around there.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Down to, and was picked up in like Europe. In like southern Europe.
There's this one wheel someone picked up.
Yeah, in southern Europe and like Mesopotamia, and moved all over Eurasia because Eurasia was good for that, because it had not particularly dense forest a lot of the time, and lots of flat areas where you could actually put stuff without having to build roads.
One moment, my laptop's overheating.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
no,
yes,
keep on talking. My laptop's getting a bit too hot. I'm just going to kind of close some background processes.
That's fair. But yeah, so you've kind of got all of that going on. So what was I saying? Yes, the Incas didn't have that, and they had a very sophisticated communication system with their like coloured knots of string that they'd make, right, to send messages and communicate a lot of complicated information. We don't know what information. We haven't translated it.
Ooh, that's fun.
But they had these wonderful string messages that were technically writing, but not like any writing that any other civilization came up with. And but like you can't model that in this game. You have to research things that the game doesn't. You have to research some things to progress to other things they had, right? Like, they did. Yeah, they had bronze working, very sophisticated bronze working. They had, not writing, but they had some of the other stuff beyond there. But the tech tree kind of presents a very specific view of progress that was I think it was sort of blamed a bit for how a bunch of people, particularly on the internet in like early 2000s, 2010s, that sort of like early internet time, kind of would talk about, uh, you know, anywhere that wasn't Europe,
Yeah.
and kind of leads to a few misconceptions. And this is, the way the tech tree is done is based not on like, it's not supposed to be a hateful thing, but it is definitely based on these uncriticized assumptions by Sid Meier and his company.
To be fair, which in the early 90s was contemporaneous, more or less, right? It's just the following games, which my understanding is Sid Meier himself had less and less interaction with, did not reconsider history, unfortunately.
And that's the problem, is that the thing is, right, it's hard to do that. Yeah, you have to invent irrigation to develop monarchy. Monarchy being a thing that has been part of human civilization for a very long time.
Very, very long time.
Regardless of whether you have irrigation.
Yes.
Because you have, the guy in charge.
Yeah.
And his family being a thing. But yeah, so you kind of get the... I always start the sentence structure. I'm trying to vary it up.
I know that feel. I've listened back to recordings myself lecturing or like DMing.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
like,
Oh boy, yeah. But thinking for a moment, just getting my brain in gear. Oh yeah, so like, it's kind of like, it's hard to fix, right? A tech tree is fun to play with. Importantly,
yes,
like it's actually a good mechanic.
It's nice researching things and feeling like you get stronger. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun to feel like you're making progress. Progress being a good word to use there.
It's a very good word. Yes,
it's connected to our own ideas of what progress is.
12 terms.
A plantation. Yeah. So, for example, even here, like you're building a plantation on these bananas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and what a plantation looks like is different for different people, right? Again, to go back to the Native Americans, like they would have plantations of stuff, but it was just they'd plant stuff in an area, and they'd come back later, because for particular the more nomadic groups, and they'd just pick what was there. They'd like have management, but they wouldn't manage it too much, like how a plantation would be in our modern imagination.
Yep.
Where you have like actually a farm of bananas, worked by people. Nice.
No.
Not nice.
Why am I still building a warrior here?
Good news.
Because I have no production. That's why. I have one production.
Animal husbandry. You'll finally be able to marry an animal.
Cool.
We're used to now agriculturists visiting foreign lands and just seeing food everywhere is one of my favorite historical tropes. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this land of plenty. I wonder why it's like this. It must be just for us.
The problem is they haven't done this in like 300 years, so we haven't got any new foods. It's like we've got spices, we've got potatoes, bananas, and tomatoes. We've got some kumara. We really need some new ones though. I always wonder about this. Like, you look at pictures like early corn, and you're like, people ate this. There's got to be something in the world which we could. Oh, that's not good.
Oh yeah, like something in the world you could turn into a viable food.
You get to run away from this. Yeah, very much so.
People need to work on getting like some of these spices to be more productive. Saffron and vanilla are just ridiculous. They have to be able to engineer those to be better.
I know saffron's wow, good horses. I knew saffron was particular. What's vanilla like?
Vanilla, like if you try buy like a vanilla bean, right? It's very expensive.
Yes.
It's just because the beans are useless. Oh, radishes. I was just thinking before as I made myself a mixture of cardamom, nutmeg, chocolate, and coconut milk. How much shit we to give? Yeah.
Yep.
Coconut milk's probably the easiest of those.
Oh, St. Petersburg's being attacked by barbarians. Hand axes.
Hell yeah.
I wonder if... Because they can... Occasionally barbarians will just take over a city and it becomes a barbarian city and it's the best. That said, I should probably kill the spearman first, I guess, shouldn't I? That seems prudent.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact things, but vanilla's ridiculous. My favorite one's cashew.
Yeah,
So over the last week, I've been enjoying a bag of Mother Earth's cashews roasted and slightly salted.
sounds very nice.
There's a 400-gram bag of cashews. And if you know how cashews grow, a cashew grows as a big fruit
Yeah,
with a singular cashew growing off the bottom of it, and it kind of looks like a weenus.
sure.
Not to say bad words on your stream.
I'm not as concerned about that, shall we say?
That's fair. Yeah, a droop. Yes, and the cashew is just inside there, and a bag of cashews, I would estimate, probably has, I don't know, maybe it's 200, 300 cashews in it, this bag.
Something like that.
That's 300 fruits.
Yeah, that is nuts.
And it's each individual. It's not like peas where you get 6 of them per one thing. They're insanely unproductive. And so I kind of feel bad about sometimes about eating that sort of thing. But anyway, I've gone a little bit off topic.
No.
Dried apricots. Oh yeah, dried apricots. Well, that's the thing of dried apricots. You really shouldn't eat that much at once because you're eating a whole ass apricot, just condensed.
God.
Yeah, you think about eating 6 undried apricots. You're like, that'd be a lot of work. Dried apricots.
That's a commitment.
Yeah. That's sort of like living in the lap of luxury.
Someone at work bought a box of dried apricots and then seemingly forgot about them in the fridge. What a waste.
Oh,
There's
a waste.
Eat those suckers.
Yeah, they're good.
Can you not read? There's a jungle in the way.
They'll make you a little bit full because there's so much apricot.
There's a lot of apricot in an apricot.
And a dried apricot. You lose the water weight, but you got all the bits. Makes my jaw aches after eating too many.
Why am I not building a settler? I'm an idiot.
Anyway,
I fucked up. I should have definitely built a settler instead of that barracks.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, I'm not playing this game to win. I'm playing this game to hang out and chat.
We don't have to be good at a game.
Yeah, because I'm not. By the way, chat, I'm not being good at the game.
Oh, can you go into city view quickly?
This?
Yeah, I want to think about what you've got going on in your city. How's your city feeling at the moment?
Well, we've got a lot of diamonds.
I just remembered my favorite thing about. I say favorite thing I find funny about this game.
What's that?
It was the fucking resource demanded.
Yes.
How do you know what a truffle is if you don't have a truffle?
Or pigs.
Or pigs. Should have rushed cavalry. Well, he does have. Well, actually, you've got horses.
I do have horses now.
Get your horses.
I think my plan is to somehow take St. Petersburg and just commit to the 2-city thing, which is an entertainingly bad idea, but it's my entertainingly bad idea.
Russian cavalry is both a good strategy in this and in Age of Empires 2.
It's good for killing units, it's bad for taking cities is the main problem.
That is true.
Because...
That's fair.
Yeah.
Horses don't operate as well in a city. Can't charge. Okay, I had a list of things to talk about here that I thought of. I've talked about science, I've talked about my history of the games, I've talked about city-states. Yes.
Well, before you get onto it, we didn't talk about what kind of... we kind of talked about what kind of play styles you liked, I guess, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked a bit about what I like to play. In general, yeah, science civilizations are fun. I also like culture stuff. I don't really like the warfare in Civ games. I find, in particular in 5 and 6, because 5 and 6 introduced the idea that you can't have 2 units on the same tile.
Well, I much preferred that.
See, I don't. I quite like the stack. Partially because I learned how the stack works.
I mean, I remember learning that in 4, but...
I love stack. It's so stupid.
Yes, that was my complaint about it.
So, yeah, because it's Civ 4, you can have units on the same tile, which means if you're attacking something, you end up with doom stacks of units that just menace cities and are terrifying. But they're very fun to work with because they're so, you kind of, if you figure out, you're like, okay, I'm going to have like a set of siege, and all that siege is going to
I
like
swear.
just bombard the city until all the defenses are down, and then we just send units in until everything's dead. Which will get a bunch of you guys dead, but once you kind of figure out how it works and get in particular, once you realize that it's all based on chance and it gives you notifications about what the chance of winning is, you can also save scum to win.
Oh, see, I never
really
worked that part out.
Which I don't do that much, to be fair, but is something you can do if you've got a really important battle, and it's like 50% chance of winning.
No one ever told the English in 1066. Wait, this guy didn't die.
Why Hastings?
Well, because
Yeah, you should send your worker to
go kill the spearman. What are you saying?
No, to get horses.
That's fair.
Yeah,
yes, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, so they changed combat a bit in 5 and 6 because it's now your units have health and they will last a lot longer. It also means you kind of like overturns, sort of, as you've seen in the stream so far, just sort of pushing down their health.
Yeah, that bit's a bit
which can be unexciting.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Good. Okay, I think, and one more point. One more main point I was thinking about, which is your sort of like expansion and growth.
Yeah, see, I've done a bad job of that in this one, but
yeah, you haven't done much, but that's fine. Russia's doing some. So it's kind of tied into your culture and how culture works. Because culture's a weird thing, right? Because culture for your city determines like the spread of your city.
Yes.
Which I believe realistically is more enforced by the spread of like your military.
Yes.
Typically, for example, like people just live places, right? Back in like 14,000 BC, 1400 BC. Oh, also, am I reading this right as food being basically randomly distributed across the planet?
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
you're reading that exactly correct.
It's like you have a base amount of food that you get from a tile that can be improved by improvements. You have more base food in the tile if you have a specific type of thing. All the improvements are randomly scattered about.
I feel like food improves high around rivers and stuff.
It doesn't seem to be as much here, right? Like,
so
you've got...
We can't tell on this map, but you do get like floodplains by rivers, which are better.
Those are floodplains, yeah.
But the problem is these ones are also deserts, which makes them worse again, so it cancels out.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And in general, I think the mechanics to mean like farming and stuff is restricted to like around rivers until you get like more research. But overall, yeah, it does kind of... This game in particular makes it a bit more random than it should be.
Yeah.
Which is...
It is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but it does have things like, oh yeah, you've got like this type of forest or jungle that doesn't give you as much food. Go invent the aqueduct, exactly. Oh, that's one thing that's fun.
What's the order?
About 6 is you build the aqueduct so they go to the nearest
I give
mountain.
her gems and she gives me a whole bunch of gold.
Oh. That's good.
What does it mean when
it says... that's a good deal.
Why does it say 2 gold per turn not included in this deal? What does that mean?
She has 9 gold per turn she can give you.
Okay.
In total.
7's
She's giving
fine.
You 7.
I've got so much money now.
Which
is good. Because I will be able to buy a unit with it.
Not like you're using the gems for anything.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing about your luxury goods. They're just trade goods.
Basically. What? Russia? Come on, man.
Oh, composite bowman. Nice.
No, bad. It's... They spent all of their money to upgrade their bowmen.
They've reached the Bronze Age and can now build composite and improve bowmen.
It's a real pain. Because how strong is composite bowman?
No, that's how it works in Age of Empires 1. Um, but yeah, your culture, because that's what I was talking about. Your culture, right? So it's like
11.
you develop culture by having
7.
like cultural things in your city. You have wonders. You have your
Music.
steles,
Religion.
etc.
Yeah.
Music, religion. You're building your culture for all these things, which means that your city expands. And that's the most tenuous link that the game makes. I don't quite understand how those are supposed to link. Like,
No,
if you're
neither.
being literal about it, because if I think about control of an area, it's like I have people settled all over the place. We're now at 1320. People live everywhere. There may not be much of them, but they do live everywhere.
Yep.
And so control of an area is defined by who those people pay tax to. Theoretically. Sometimes you control an area on paper, but
what?
they don't pay you tax, that sort of thing.
They're bowmen left.
Are they still at war with you?
Nope.
Oh, that's fine.
I don't know where their bowman's going. I'm going to wait one more turn for their bowman to get away, then just go in on that, I think.
That's good. But yeah, so you're expanding your culture, and because of that, there's kind of like this unspoken thing that you're just sort of putting down a city in an area that the game shows as being completely unpopulated.
Yes. It sure does.
Which isn't necessarily the case.
In fact, it's almost uncertain. Certainly isn't, right?
Yeah, almost certainly there's people there. And there's a really good video that I watch occasionally because I like to go back to it. And it's by the YouTuber Dan Olson. And it's about Minecraft, not Civ. But the point of the video is like he's describing a thing he's doing in Minecraft, right? He's found a village, and he wants the village to be somewhere else for a building project he's doing.
Yep.
And he's talking about how he's like
Do we need to describe what village?
ferrying these villages by boat along a river to another position where he's built a new village for them.
Yep.
And sort of going into thinking about, actually, this game has unintentionally made me, as in his words, do a colonialism. Right?
Yep.
Where you've like unintentionally or not, and Minecraft's an interesting example of that because it's like it does present a essentially empty world for you to do whatever you want to. There are villages there, but they are a game mechanic that you utilize to create things and get you more resources. And Civilization has and the 1v2 villager hole you put each one in is to be breeding your villagers. Yes, exactly, radishes. Exactly. And it's like it's fine because it's a game. It's not a problem that you're doing this, but there's implications to it where you are kind of like acting out this like I don't know what to call it, this like strange action you're doing is kind of weird to think about. And the same thing here, like you are.
I'm trying to do a genocide, basically.
Yeah, you're currently at war with Russia, right?
Yep.
And you're going to take over Russia.
I hope so.
You're not necessarily going to treat the people there badly. You know, the Persians were supposed to have been fairly good people to conquer you because they'd like sort of let you keep doing what you do. But of course, culture in this game is very tied to who you are. So you take over somewhere, and they stop being your they are part of you once you take over them. But even then, even like the stuff you're doing that isn't violent, that isn't this war, you are still taking over areas and subsuming them into your empire.
Why can't you take that? Why can you not shoot that? That might be a real kick in the pants.
Yeah, I think there's something in the way.
Can't see through the jungle, I guess. Can't see St. Petersburg for the trees.
Can't shoot over the jungle.
Well, I'm pretty sure that means I don't get there on this.
Probably not.
Bugger. Because these guys are going to come back now. Well,
oh, fuck.
Um,
I haven't seen a single advisor pop up for you.
Maybe it was turned off. I don't know.
That guy just shows up like, hey,
By the
can I
way,
help?
this is a terrible idea. Wait, really?
I see you're trying to invade the city. Do you want some advice?
Oh yeah,
Could your
because
scout block them for a turn?
yeah, well they're adjacent to it, so they don't get to move 2 squares. Also, still reasonable trade. No, it's fine.
That's fine.
Oh, the siege for my scouts. Wasn't expecting
Yeah,
that.
that's the problem. Is your scouts are about to die.
I mean, they weren't doing much at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The city heals so much.
Yeah,
Is the thing. I wasn't expecting
Attacking
it to heal
cities
so fast.
Attacking cities early game with not much like units is a bad time.
Yeah, that's fine.
You kind of need like, if you want to be early game fighting, you want to like build up, like I don't know, 5 warriors.
I had like
Hope,
3, right, and they were kind of spread out.
yeah, hope to have maybe like a unique warrior of some kind.
Yeah, it's
go
fine.
nuts.
That's fine.
Now this is interesting gameplay to watch compared to, I don't know, science gameplay. So that's fine.
I mean, it's not going to be very interesting for much longer.
That's fair. Anyway, yeah. Overall, as you go through the game, like I'm trying to think of like in-game stuff that we're not going to see because we've only played the start.
Yeah, I'm just kind of stacking my units at this point. How much longer are you wanting to go? I should maybe not throw too hard if you're wanting to actually talk for a little bit
that's
longer.
Fair. No, just thinking about like end of Civ games in general. It's kind of like yeah, you end up with very strange situations in the end of Civ games. We have like I don't know, tech imbalances and stuff.
Yes, the thing which always struck me in mind is playing a game of Civ 4 on low difficulty and my attack helicopter's busy killing spearmen.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And like, yeah, because if you, depending on difficulty, you just kind of overtake in science very quickly anyone you're fighting. And then sometimes you're at tech balance, which is very hard to deal with when you get to the last like units because you'll have the same shit.
Yep.
As you just have to rely on having more shit. But which is fine because enemies, unless you're playing on the hardest modes, usually don't spam units as far as I know. They're not going to like spam above a certain level, I think. I don't often play at high difficulties though, so I may be wrong on that. But I'm fairly certain they're like, they'll build stuff and then they'll keep building stuff in their cities. Although, of course, if you're at high difficulties, of course, the other thing is that the AI cheats.
Yeah.
As in most games
kind of a pain.
that have AI.
It's just how it is, I guess.
Yeah, they just... And it's kind of like... It's a trick to make you think they have better AI.
It seems I mean, I understand this would be a hard game to make good AI for.
Yeah, AI is hard to do. It's a general problem that's plagued the Paradox games, for example, is that the AI is consistently bad. And because there's so many mini decisions that have to be made, it's hard to make a good AI. And then you can't get to the end game, and then there's fun stuff that happens with nukes.
Yes, very much so.
And yeah, so there's kind of like I guess two things to talk about there. First of all, it's kind of like the obviously it's an important stage of human development to mention is the harnessing of the atom, and so being able to first of all make
shooting of people with it. Yeah,
first of all, being able to make power out of it, but also being able to create weapons with it, being an very important thing that's happened in the last 100 years. And the game kind of has the same issue that some people have with Fallout, the Fallout games, which is kind of like the nukes are fun to play with type of attitude. I know some people aren't huge on.
The big button go boom is a pretty ingrained response, right? It's always like, I want to push the needle up to 11 and do the fun explosive stuff in the game by whatever standards the game has.
Similar to how you can do that in Rise of Nations. Have you ever played that?
Not enough to know what you're talking about.
Rise of Nations is like Age of Empires, except you advance through every age to get to the, you build your area up through every level of development. Kind of like, if you mix Civ and Age of Empires.
It sounds pretty sweet, actually.
Rise of Nations is good. It's another game I could have actually talked about.
We could have done Age of Empires here, honestly.
Oh, and I kind of want to at some stage.
I mean, hey, I'll get you back.
Age of
I'll get you
Empires.
back sometime. The only one I've ever
Yeah.
particularly played is 3, which is an unusual
Ah,
sentence.
yes.
However,
I
yeah.
could talk about like both 2 and 3
I
because
mean,
2 and 3 are different games.
this chat's been about Civ in general,
Yeah,
right? We can do
exactly.
the
Yeah,
same for Age of Empires.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, the oh, but
Oh yeah,
yes,
here's a
that's
building.
true.
This is
But
my Oracle in
oh,
production, I believe.
oh yes, nice. Yes, oh, that's right. You're building Oracle. Good.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, no, what was I saying? Oh yes, but yeah, nukes are a thing, and they are fun things to play with. Obviously, there's kind of there's discussions about how it works. The other thing the game does at the end to implement like modern days is um, simulate global warming.
Oh, see that I did not know. That's interesting.
So this is a thing in most civilization games that they simulate it, and global warming is fascinating. This is actually there's another video that I watched last year, I think, which I should go back to, and I should have actually gone back to and prep for this, but I didn't. But overall, there's like this idea that all 6 of the games model global warming at the very end of the game because they understand the idea that even the first one does, I believe, and they'll understand the idea that the industrialization of your world is going to change it. Uh, and some games present it as an inevitable thing,
Huh.
even if you have like entirely nuclear power the entire way or entirely like renewable
Yeah.
power
It's just
skills,
like
it still makes it
this is
happen.
happening. Why are you making
Uh,
reptile?
and so it can, for example, just desertifies the world slowly but surely. You'll start your turn. It'll be like, oh, global warming has turned this tile into desert,
Mm.
and that's the only way that manifests. Um, I can't remember how 5 does it. I know 6 has like an actual global warming tracker is introduced where it can be like, oh yeah, here's how CO2 in the atmosphere is going throughout the entire game,
Oh, that's wild.
and so you can see like, and it would be cool if they kind of did a bit more of that of like how you have mini climate events sometimes happening through like significant burning of forests or
Right.
that sort of thing. You can have like there are suspicions that some climate events in the world history have been caused by like massive expansions in population, regardless of like oil burning. And then also having like sort of because of that, you kind of have like global warming being exacerbated by stuff. But the game doesn't let it become unfun. It still makes it so you may have like tiles inundated with water, but your cities don't get inundated. Uh, and it doesn't provide a bunch of mechanics for like you figuring out how to stop global warming happening.
Ah, see that's the satisfying part. See that
And
seems the
yeah,
not pipe
that's
dream isn't the word. There's a genre of games where you get to do like difficult / unrealistic things and feel good about it.
yeah,
I don't know how to.
yeah.
There's a much better way of describing that, and I wish I knew how to put it.
I'm not yeah. That's kind of that kind of thing. It's like so it models it, but still like gamifies it and like presents it as a problem, but like one that is beatable without doing too much to change what you're up to. Uh, which is, it's slightly in difference to how that is in the real life, where it's a constant struggle to have anyone even acknowledge it's a problem. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but not. But okay, and finally, the last thing we talked about at the very start as a thing we talked about was Gandhi.
Oh yeah, we never got back to Gandhi.
Yeah.
So how much do you know about Gandhi in Age of Empires?
Nope, not Age of Empires Civ.
So how much do you know about
I
Gandhi in Civ?
I know that there's a story that's out there, and I don't know if that's entirely true.
Well, you can. Okay, why don't you tell your story? This story, and I'll. So part of it is confirmable. The untrue part we'll have to see.
Yes. Okay, so there's this. Basically, there's a meme out there, and the meme is that Gandhi in this game,
In
and
the whole series.
joking about it in general as like an idea of the man himself. First of all, Gandhi is a very strange person to choose as a leader for the Indian civilization.
In so many
Uh,
ways, yeah.
that is who they still chose to be the leader of India in Civilization 1, and he has persisted in Civilization throughout there because he's kind of iconic as a leader because he's a weird choice. He was never a leader of the country, aside from maybe, I don't know, like metaphorically.
He's also like how many other
Yeah.
Indian people have Americans heard of?
Yeah, exactly.
Would be my
And so that's probably more the point. He's also hecking annoying to play against. Yes, and he's annoying
aha.
for one reason, which is that in most recent games, and possibly the whole series, we'll get to that.
Yep.
He is surprisingly bloodthirsty.
He is, yes.
Yeah, he's supposed to, obviously he's Gandhi, right? The idea is he's like a peaceful guy, but he, in particular, once nukes become accessible, he just spams them. He just goes nuts.
Budapest in Portugal. Oh wait, Portugal. That's okay. It's okay. Oh no, never mind. They changed their mind straight away. It's very funny. Go on. Sorry.
Yes. So, there's a legend out there about why Gandhi is like this.
Sophia might give me a ballista. Oh.
Um,
Oh.
so there's kind of there's the legend out there is that aggression in Civilization 1 was measured on a scale of 1 to 10
Yes.
or 1 to 12 or whatever.
Some number scale, right?
And of course, Gandhi was coded to have the least aggression because it's Gandhi.
Yeah.
However, in certain cases, aggression levels being decreased caused his aggression levels to become 0, which meant become lower than 0, which because of it being assigned as a non-negative number,
It overflows basically, or wraps around. How you want to think about it?
into the maximum aggressiveness. As 255, he becomes much more aggressive than everyone, and nuclear weapons are unlocked after this happens, which means that his aggression level spikes by the time India becomes nuclear capable, which means he just goes nuts.
Also, I'm sorry to a brief interjection.
sorry.
I'm finding a religion. It's very easy to read this. Oh, hey, I found a religion outside.
Nice. Hey, guys, found a religion. What do we want to do?
Chat, help me pick a picture. You're going to have to describe it though, so good luck with that.
Oh man, what's the bird?
Makes sense.
Tingreism.
So yeah, the story I'd heard was similar but different in that it wasn't the overflow thing. It was just that a mistake was made, and he, instead of getting a 2, he got an 8 or vice versa, which made him very aggressive. So less nuanced, and one or the other of those is either a simplification or an elaboration.
Yep.
Bird. Okay. I don't know. It's not important to talk about the mechanisms of how religion works in Civ 5.
Yep. No, religion, I've talked about it a bit anyway. You just get stuff that is attached to your beliefs that make you be sure at things. And you can choose things, and usually it's like you've got one thing, you can kind of choose your founder belief and your follower belief. One is a good bonus, follower belief. I think most of them are like things you can build.
Yes, it's sweet. You get like pagodas or so on, so on.
Yeah, and they're all good. And sometimes it's not pagodas, or just like a minor bonus.
Those kinds
That's
of
fun
things.
because it basically means you get like a chance to customize some bonuses for your civ, which is a good mechanic.
Okay, Safetycat. One contribution, please. What's the name of this bad boy? This bird. What's the bird's name, I guess?
Can it be called Bingus?
Bingus or Bingusism?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. We're good.
Wait, does that not?
So you make in Civ 6 you make your own religion without the name, without like the. You can basically, I mean, in all of them it's basically you choose the name, you choose the thing. Previous games you only got to. You basically had like 4 has a religion show up once you research the relative tech.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
And so you have like actual real world religions, only like the main ones, and a few which aren't really religions, like Taoism,
And Bingus.
etc. And Bingus. No, Bingus is that's fine.
One thing
But
I
yeah,
don't
so
remember from Civ 5,
yeah.
is there a way to show the score? Or was that just a Civ 4 thing? I remember
I
down...
think there's that might be in your options.
Okay, you keep on talking.
Yeah. Interface options? Is there like
Right, there we
score?
go. Single player scoreless. That's what I was
Yeah.
missing. This whole time I could have been saying, see, look, I'm officially
There
winning,
we
guys.
go.
It's fine.
Nice. Yeah,
Despite
good.
sending my scout and my warrior to their deaths, I'm still winning. And having
yes,
won fewer
just
city. It's probably because I just got like
yes.
50 points for founding that city. Why is Catherine's
exactly.
score so big? Is it because
Who?
she's free
Oh,
cities?
Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine, tech boost from being at war
Do they get
with
that?
you.
Is there
I
that?
don't know. I don't think that's like a thing. I'm just
No.
saying like there is an explanation for why.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yes. So the one thing with Gandhi, of course, just to finish off that story, is that isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Gandhi was
very much.
never assigned anything different than the low aggression. There were only 3 possible aggression levels in Civ, and there wasn't an unsigned variable that could make it overflow. Because aggression of 255 would act same as aggression level of 3. So essentially, the explanations they can kind of come up with is basically people were both surprised to see themselves being nuked by Gandhi.
Yeah.
And kind of that sticks in your head a bit.
Yeah.
That idea. And also the fact that his Civ is science based, which means he's more likely to get there before you with nukes. And if you're at war with him or he declares war on you, because he can still declare war on you even if he's low aggression, then that would be why. And that wasn't actually programmed into the game until I think Civ 5.
What wasn't, sorry?
This current 1-1.
Gandhi being an angry man?
Yeah, Gandhi is actually... so Gandhi in 5 is one of the most peaceful leaders, but his AI parameters that control and using nuclear weapons has the value of 12, the highest of any leader.
Which is really, it's just memeing at this point, though, right? So that's fine.
Yeah, so they're memeing on it, and now he's just... so in Civ 5 onwards, that is a thing. But the previous existence of that as a legend is just kind of like a bit of a legend. So I just want to talk about that because I think that's like it's a fun thing. Oh, growth is a meme. In early 2012, 21 years after the original Civilization was released, the TV Tropes username Tuna Fish claimed the bug existed that caused Gandhi to be more aggressive and did not provide any proof.
It sounds about right. It sounds like TV Tropes.
Yep. So that's kind of that could be in fact where that started as a meme. And then kind of urban legend spread.
I have so many diamonds.
Oh. Anyway, that's just a fun little digression into like a piece of Civ lore that is just fun to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, well, I think in general, maybe I'm going to like summing up some things.
That seems fine. I'm happy to move towards wrapping up. If you're nothing in particular else you wanted to.
Yeah, no. So overall, like it's such an interesting game series, and I really enjoy the direction they've taken in recent titles. In particular, six has so many leaders, and in particular, and while it keeps like a lot of the famous ones, it tries to shine a light on a lot of like different smaller civs. That kind of started here, where they chose. There's a few weird picks for civilizations and like the later DLCs, and I do appreciate that they've kind of kept going with that and done a lot of like, like they have. You can be the Maori in Civ 6, for instance. You can be Australia. You can. They provide like Native American tribes, but don't necessarily pick the most well-known ones. I think overall, I respect that like devotion to trying new things.
Yeah, well, it's all the nations which would have just been a city-state, right? They're like, actually.
Yeah. Yeah,
what
exactly.
If there was Brazil?
Exactly. Imagine if Brazil was real. Then what would we do?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So yeah, and I really just enjoy the game series as a whole as like a gateway to history. I've talked a bit about how like it's not a very good representation of history, but
No.
it's a fantastic gateway into history. And like even if like the game mechanics don't represent history that well, they'll still like contain like the Civipedia and stuff have like big things about the different civs they're talking about, so you can learn more about who you're playing as and a bit of their
I
history.
wonder. Yeah, so I forget how it
Yeah,
looks
like
in
you can
5, actually.
go learn about the Ethiopians if you want. Learn
Yeah,
more
see?
about
That's quite fun.
yeah, exactly.
We
And
date
so
back to the first millennia BC.
yeah, exactly. Um,
There actually is a
and
lot
yeah,
of it, right? There's actually a
yeah,
lot. That's like a lot of stuff.
yes, and
And
like it's a game company putting together a little spiel. It's not no guarantee that all of it's like completely correct, but and a lot of it's going to be summaries. But overall, it is a good look at you know being able to get people into history. I know
yeah,
there's a lot of people out there who got into history because of games like this and Age of Empires.
see, for me, Hearts of Iron, and also I built a wonder. I did always like this. The like art and little zoom in, and it plays some. Maybe you can't hear it, Sam, very well. I don't know how loud the volume is for you. Also, I didn't say anything, so I just assumed the balance has been 100% perfect this whole time because I didn't balance it.
What's that?
Um, there's fun little stuff. In any case, you get to see when you build an oracle in the game. Like, there's a nice little celebration,
Oh yes,
and
yes,
it's like,
yes.
yeah, you get to feel good about it.
Yeah. Oh, so you build the Oracle. Sorry, I
I
was
did. I did.
briefly
I got an
away
achievement,
from.
Master of the House, which tells you how
Yay!
much Civ
You've never
5
done
I've
that?
played. Nope, apparently
Oh
not.
yes. Oh, actually, 1 second. Just gonna look at something on Steam. Let's just go look at Sid Meier's Civilization 5.
Yeah.
So Civ Meier's Civilization 5. I have played 58 hours on. View all friends who play. Your profile. Oh, you've got more time on it than me.
That would be because I was playing through an online client, turn-based, with
Ah,
Black Owl and some other friends for like 2 years on and off.
yes.
But the
That
thing
is
is, you're
true.
only ever playing one turn at a time, so you're spending like 8 minutes
Yeah.
of loading and 30 seconds of gameplay.
Mm-mm. Meanwhile, I have a shit ton of hours in 6, and I don't know how many hours I have in 4.
So I'd wager you will have played more turns of Civ than me.
I will have, guaranteed. Hello. Oh, it's Tally. Hi.
Oh, hey, Ateli, how's it going?
We are, unfortunately,
Wrapping
we're
up.
kind of
Yeah.
near the end. We are wrapping up.
But there's any
Okay.
particular stuff about Civ 5 about the Civ series you're excited to think about? Then
Yeah,
you know.
Kiwi just came through us like don't end, but unfortunately, I am trying to.
We're kind of trying to, yeah.
Yeah, we are ending because
Trying to sleep, can't shut off. Oh, that's no good.
Oh no. Well, hello. It is early. It is 9. So go a bit longer to your normal sleep time, maybe.
Everyone with the pink names.
So
Oof.
overall, Civilization
Fun
has
series.
been one of the most constant games I have played. It is a fantastic series. I really, really kind of indebt a lot of my current interest in history and gaming to it. Got me into being able to mod things and kind of learning a bit more about tech side of computers,
That's
all
cool.
that sort of thing.
I hadn't thought about that. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
it's
Like,
sorry, go on.
no, you go.
It's a broad enough series you can find interest in a whole bunch of different directions in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, Sam, I blame you.
You blame
Wait,
me?
can chat see that? I don't know if my camera's on. A group of citizens
Oh,
from
the
Budapest have
Bingus-
heard the tenets of Bingus and want you to spread the religion to their
Tenants of
city.
Bingus.
So thanks for
They
that.
want some Bingus cats.
Sophia gave me a new unit. Is this a free spearman I've got? Yay. Budapest wants Bingus.
No, I thought about. I don't know why I thought of the name Bingus. Aside from, I think the other day, me and Red were talking about the original Bingus Sphinx cat picture.
Well, I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's fine then.
But yeah, yes, and I am very interested to see what happens when they eventually make Civ 7 because they had a very expensive DLC program for Civ 6, which has dried up, and there's
What? Oh, see, I wasn't expecting
they're
this.
no longer doing DLCs for Civ 6, I believe. So assuming 7's in the works.
So, okay, here's a question. Just as we're talking about Civ.
Yeah.
What was Civ Beyond Earth?
Oh boy,
Because I don't
Civ
really
Beyond
know about
Earth.
that. Based on the name
Yeah,
and the like art picture of a spaceship, I'm guessing it's like Spore.
yeah.
It's like you get galactic-y stuff. Like is it Stellaris, but you also do things on Earth as well?
Okay, hold on. 1 second.
Of
There's a
course, of
big
course,
bug. I will be right back.
of course. Gonna make another sleep attempt. Good luck, Telly. Have a good rest. Have a good rest. Get that sleep. Aiming before 4 a.m. this time. Oh, friend, you can do it. I'm sure. Get the ASMR going, right? Good luck. Yeah, catch around. Oh well, while Safetycat's away, I might take a little bit of the wrapping up stuff. Thanks for hanging out, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this. Yeah, I'm going to try and get back into series at least a little bit. Just kind of mine. Okay, fine, yours. Just kind of, talking through games that folks are like all passionate about, and what they like. It's kind of exploring the game. So, if any of you, yes, you, have a game or a game series you'd want to talk about, I'd be very, very happy to do so. Think if you could, Register example, think if you could tolerate
Hi.
watching me play Hotline Miami while you talk about that. Hey, Safety
Hi
Cat.
there.
I was kind of wrapping
Sorry.
things up a bit. No, you're all good. You're
Yeah,
good.
that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Just a cockroach. Okay.
Oh, I was going to tell you about Beyond Earth briefly.
Yeah. Very. Yeah, briefly. But please do.
Very, very quickly. Beyond Earth is just like the a weird spin-off Civ game,
Okay.
which is closer to what I said before, which is the idea that Civilization is a game where you're put on a planet to conquer. This is very much that. Literally, you are space age Earth Civ racing against other space age Earth Civs to try colonize a planet.
That is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would be interested, except I'm not really big on sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
That sort of setting, at least for a game. So I was kind of like, give it a miss. So to me, Beyond Earth is mainly the source of fantastic video, which is the trailer for the game set to the final countdown.
Oh, that's pretty rad.
Because the trailer for the game syncs very, very well to it.
I can get behind
I
that.
remember that being, posted on Reddit, and then shortly after the original trailer was on Reddit, someone posted that, and it was just kind of like a fun, like, like example of something that fits very well.
Yeah, it sounds sweet.
What's the word?
Honestly,
what's the word? I can't. There's a word for that. I can't.
there
remember
is a word
it.
for
Anyway,
that.
yeah. So anyway, so that's what I know about that game, and there are a bunch of other Civ spin-offs that I also haven't played. I have one in my library called Colonization, which was a spin-off of 4. There's been Sid Meier's Pirates, which is kind of a almost Civ-like game that does pirate
and
stuff.
there was, what was the plain one? Civ Meier's.
Oh, and he had a bunch of stuff that wasn't Civ. He had like a plane and like a train
Yeah.
thing and all that, where it was other
Guys involved in making a bunch of games.
yeah.
In the early
He
90s.
was good. Yeah, and then he also had Alpha Centauri, which is an earlier version, basically, of Beyond Earth.
Yeah, people
But
quite
I
liked
think
that
people
25 years ago.
people
right?
like that more than Beyond Earth.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see it.
Beyond Earth wasn't well received, I don't think.
I remember hearing nothing about it, which for a Civ game is a pretty bad sign.
It was. I think it had the same issue as 5, where like more prominent the sort of like boringness, kind of like the same problem you run into with late game Spore or something, where no one liked it because no one thought of anything interesting to do in it.
Yeah,
Because you need kind of like someone with like, a lot of imagination to make that work better. Anyway, so that's
Civ.
I think all the Civ games I want to talk about, all the bits and pieces I wanted to mention. I think this has been a nice little discussion.
It's been really nice, dude. You've had so much to say. I've been basically sitting here going, tell me more.
No, you've said some things. It's been good. It hasn't been quite me dominating it, but I have talked a lot.
It's been a nice dialogue. As you say, having done so much of this makes it so easy just sit down and have a conversation. It's just nice. Very, very natural.
I am slightly disappointed that not in you for it taking so long to get to doing this, but just because I am slightly annoyed at myself because I remember having worked out a lot of very good points to make in this since we talked about doing it like ages ago.
Yeah, well, I got busy with real life stuff.
I know, exactly. I'm not saying it's your fault. Yeah. I should have written it down, but I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I know I had this all together at some point. I've just forgotten it now.
Oh, it seemed pretty to give it to me. Sophia wants Bingus. I blame you. Okay.
Sophia wants Bingus, and they shall get Bingus.
And that seems a pretty good note to finish on.
Yes,
I suppose the Hanging Gardens, but this is the one more turn thing of Civ, isn't it? You can just always keep on clicking that button.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, that was one point. Just briefly, Civilization worked out what mobile games have failed to do.
Really?
Which is keep people invested by mobile games keep you invested by making you pay money to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And making it so that you want to keep playing to unlock things. So, for example, Pokemon goes like, look, you can buy some incubators to hatch your eggs. If you just buy some, it will happen faster.
Yeah, or loot crates being the preeminent, I think, of the last.
But Civilization gets that level of addiction by just being interesting enough that you start a new turn and like, oh, I want to. I have so many things I want to do this turn. I guess I'll play this turn now.
Yeah, and there's not even anything in it for them.
It just manages it by being fun.
Yeah, that's good. It's gentle, right? It's not like there's stuff going on. You get to make decisions, but it's not so intense that you get like overwhelmed. It's a very nice balance. It's as complicated as you want it to be. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Okay.
The world's busiest people.
Yeah, amount of production. It's fine.
You're the second busiest.
I'm a bit of these dang AI are dedicated to blocking me from where I want to go.
Yes, they are.
That's fine.
Good. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for having me on.
It's been a blast. Thank you so much for coming by.
Yep. No worries. I've enjoyed getting to talk about Civ. I'm glad people. I've heard at least one good review about hearing about this, about listening to this. And I will, let me know when you want me back on to talk about another game.
Thank you. This is going to be a semi-recurring. Have we considered a podcast? Folks don't have so much time they want to listen to us just talking. We're not going to have that many good ideas.
I can't talk enough about. I talk about this a lot because I know about Civ.
Yeah.
There's other things I don't know as much about that I'd be worth talking about.
Yeah.
However, if anyone out there from one podcast connected to our friend group is out there, let me on the pod.
You're making a push. You want to be the first guest, huh?
Oh, I want to be the first guest. I want to be on. I want to be on the pod. I have opinions.
Wow, you're gonna have to.
The show's about opinions.
It is. You're gonna have to bring a good topic though.
Please subscribe to the Indecisive Beans podcast on Twitch.
Yes, very much so.
And currently not, I think, wherever good podcasts are sold, but eventually maybe. There let me on the podcast. I'm going to escalate. Absolutely.
He definitely is. You know it. Find something.
I'm the escalator.
What could you all do a whole episode on Pokemon? I'm trying to think what collective overlap's going to fit all five of.
Or even if I need to pitch it to them. I have an idea.
Okay. Well, no spoilers. We're not going to spoil that podcast on my
But I
downstream.
have an idea. If I was on the pod, I could be on and do this.
Okay.
Because I think it would be funny.
Just everyone in chat like we're going to fight for this. It's good. It's good.
Thank you
nice.
for your support. But anyway, please.
I gotta let. Yeah.
Subscribe to Al. Subscribe to anyone who streams.
Yeah.
In our friend group.
Subscribe to people who don't stream. Put pressure on them. Make them stream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want.
Speaking of
I want
which,
Hevich to bring back King's Quest.
Wait, who?
Hevich.
Oh yes. Actually, that would be cool. I want to bring back Hitman at some stage.
Yeah. The informal sideways compatible, but maybe not. It's not actually sideways compatible anymore. We need to work that out.
No, it's sideways. No, remember, it's sideways compatible nights.
Oh yeah. Hitman sometime.
That's the card I gave it.
It's a good card. Sometime we're going to play some more Hitman. There's Hitman 3 now. Do you know, Sam?
I do know this, which means I have to catch up.
We got some men to hit, and then throw into a mulcher.
Oh, radishes! I need you to
man.
understand the joy that watching
Kenshi?
play Kenshi. You playing Kenshi gave me. I need that vibe.
I'm not a horror games person, but your company, if you're ever wanting someone to join you for a dumb game on a podcast, my whole stream is me playing dumb games.
Mm-hmm.
So you know where to find me. Okay, we're just rambling and failing to finish the stream at this point.
No, that's fine.
It's
your stream, man.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna. Man, I should just cut it out right then. Okay. Good night, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.